Greetings, geeks and nerds, and ways the universe, and I'm white and nerdy. Now, I've talked briefly about this man before, and probably a bunch of people probably know who he is and probably doesn't know who he is, but I mentioned him in a few videos by name, but not specifically the person here. So let's talk really quick about the godfather of the monsterverse, the man who really defined monsters in the Godzilla verse. Let's talk shortly about Eiji Tsuburaya and his work on the monsterverse. Eiji was the man that would the one that would define the iconic look for an iconic monster. After all, he was the original suit designer that worked on the original Godzilla. I suppose it goes without saying that without Eiji Tsuburaya, we wouldn't have the incredible Godzilla movies that we have nowadays and the monsterverse that he created. Eiji is the godfather of Japanese monster movies that we all grew up with, the ones that we remember seeing on TV, the ones that we all fell in love with. If you were watching an old school Japanese monster movie back during the day, you would probably do and thanks to him and his incredible work he have done on monster movies from now. From Godzilla to Mothra to Anguirus to the mighty Rodan, Eiji Tsuburaya is the godfather of modern monsters that still exist to this day. The modern master of the original monster movies that are still cherished and honored to this day has to go to Eiji Tsuburaya for his amazing invention. Yet, however, I can't help but feel that there is another invention that Eiji is known for, one that still exists to this day and is still as popular as it once was. See, this year and this month, Doctor Who had its 60th year anniversary, and pretty soon, within 3 years' time, it will be the 60-year anniversary of this series, one that is still known and cherished and loved by many a fan of Super Sentai and Tokusatsu, and as well as Kamen Rider, Ultraman, a series that started in 1966 that is still honored and cherished even to this day. 57 years later, does the original series still hold up strong as it once did back back in the 1960s? It has over, I want to say, like 50 seasons by this point, and almost 60 years worth of entertainment within this little package. So, is Ultraman still worthy checking out for today? Well, there is a reason why I'm wearing both gray and red in honor of this occasion. I don't have an Ultraman shirt, so I'm hoping that this attire accompanies. Usually I try to dress in something that makes sense for what I'm talking about, except at some point that when I don't have a specific shirt, I can't exactly do that. So I'm just atoning for what I have. Unless you were expecting me to come on here like Monster Island buddies and wear a Ultraman mask, I could have done that. I could have made one like in that one episode, The Monster King, and really confused the shit out of people. But no, we're just doing it like this. So let's take a deep dive and a look into the mighty realm of Ultraman, Eiji Tsuburaya's well-success series that he made with his own special effects company, and see how it holds up to today, 57 years later, almost 60 years of entertainment. Ultraman kind of is guilty for sharing the same premise, about it the same as the original Godzilla films, with a science patrol and some no members. But Ultraman's origins are pretty kind of lackluster for this TV series, so to speak. Two orbs, one red and one blue, crash land upon the Earth. While the blue orb contains a monster, the red orb contains the soul entity of a person from the M87 galaxy, one known as Ultraman. Ultraman apologizes for his inconvenience into the world, but it tells it his tale that he's an alien from an unknown origin and that he gives him his own life energy. What's more is that the Ultraman wants to apologize for all of this, so in order to do so, he hands Hayata something known only as a beta capsule, which can transform Hayata into the power of Ultraman. Without Ultraman being around, truthfully, we might not have Power Rangers and some of the other series that people have come to know and love for generations to come. But the story is so simple. The Science Patrol is usually on duty looking for, well, monsters, strange things, aliens that come into the world, and Hayata here has to keep his identity a secret. But only if and when the situation calls for it, Hayata can arise as Ultraman and call forth his power. But there is a small problem every time he calls forth Ultraman. 太陽エネルギーが残り少なくなる。カラータイマーが点滅を始め、そしてもしカラータイマーが消えてしまったら、ウルトラマンは二度と再び立ち上がる力を。 That's right, Ultraman might be a superpowered being, but if he doesn't contain his powers, it will keep him in check, and if his color timer runs out, Ultraman will die. 57 years later, and the M87 Galaxy is still trying to figure out how in the hell can we get past the 3-minute time limit for Ultraman to stay in there. Jesus Christ, could you imagine if this happened to him when he was trying to have sex? Just, yes, I'm nearly there. Oh, God damn it, not now! God damn it, I am so close! Not now! But this series might be goofy, a lot of people might see it as such, but this series still had some pretty iconic monsters that still stick around for the series. Some still today. And while Eiji had some liberty to create some new monsters, some of them he reuses some older models or other costumes that were used on some monsters in other film projects that he had worked on. And this series is seriously, I suppose, for children, even though it's kind of clear that yeah, the series is also very violent. Oh, this series has its fair share of some goofy episodes, for example, the Space Ray of Terror, where children create a monster and it's magically brought to life by a space ray. And while the children have made this monster, unfortunately, it is just so goddamn lazy that it does nothing but fucking sleep all the damn time. What a monster! One of the best examples of a dark episode is the dreaded Route 87. In it, the Science Patrol learned a certain lesson, that there was a child that was on the Route 87 and was hit by a drunk driver who nobody has seen. Tragically, the driver never came forward, so nobody knows who actually hit the child. So the child commands a monster to attack people that drive on Route 87. No, I didn't stutter, you heard that right. This is an episode where a ghost child commands a giant flying monster to kill people. So believe me when I say if you're going to check out this series, the original series has some very dark episodes, so you might want to use caution if you're showing this to a young kid. But this comes from Eiji Tsuburaya, who worked on Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, etc. names of monsters, so this series does capture everything that you loved about those movies. But this series does have some iconic monsters, like the original monster Gorma that first arrived in Monster Majesty and his dramatic appearance, which also is a monster that Ultraman has lost to. This is a monster that Ultraman got his ass kicked against. There is also an underrated monster, but also an underrated episode, called The Phantom of the Snow Mountain that has to do with a giant monster named Wu. Yeah, see, in this episode, there was a young girl who actually befriended a snow monster, and she was left behind by her parents. Her parents actually died, so the monster raised her. I'm not going to spoil the ending for you. I want you to actually see this series, but just know that that's an actual episode in this series, so you might want to be forewarned about it, truthfully. Also, don't take this series for granted just because it was created in the 60s that it might have the 60s vibe going towards it, that a lot of the episodes are probably not as good and don't hold up to this day. I beg to differ that a lot of the episodes that I talked about, some of them are actually my favorite episodes. While I don't have 10, there are a few episodes that I did note. The Phantom Snow Monster, or the Phantom Monster of the Snow Mountain, Terror on Route 87, Monster Majesty are all such great episodes that could still be accomplished. But the series has one thing going for it that not everybody can probably get behind. The fact that this series is only 39 episodes, and also that a lot of the plot, especially the origin of Ultraman and Hayata in the series, is pretty quick. By the time that you notice that it's gone, Yes, you're pretty much by the second episode by that point. I would have appreciated if the origin didn't happen until like episode two, so to speak. But I get it that maybe Eiji Tsuburaya was under production stress, and that he had to just put this out as quickly as possible. With a lot of the other later series actually explaining who the Ultraman is a lot better to be regarded. Ultra 7 and also Ultraman 80 are two of the better series that explained the alien's origin long before that it comes into play. Even some later series like Ultraman Dyna, Tiga, Ultraman Max, Ultraman Ginga have all conquered who exactly the alien is and told the origin a lot better. So it's kind of like this series respected what accidentally might have happened with the first episode and is like, well, we're going to explain it just a little bit better and take care of the alien superhero that we have here on Earth. It's also very clear to see that Ultraman yet might share some similarities to Superman. He's a superhero who comes from Earth and also hides his identity through a civilian identity. Even the later Ultramans that are actually the Ultraman alien but in human disguise can be seen as a parody or an honor or homage to the original Superman. Yet, however, I am sad to say that if this series is worth checking out for a lot of people, the answer is both yes and no. See, since this is a low budget series, kinda sort of, you can see a lot of the hiccups that the series has made, but it still holds a candle very strong, just like the original Super Sentai and also Kamen Rider series. While these series have a hiccup, they are still respected in their own right due to the popularity at the time. Granted that this series had to be beloved by other people in order to be a popular series. But granted for the original series, it's not terrible and it still holds up to this day, 57 years later. Ultraman is still being respected and honored still to this day, so it's easy to say that this series has launched quite the popularity that still exists to this day. Yet, however, I can see some people throwing some complaints this way that it's too long, that the episodes are kind of boring, and that there are some episodes that are better than others. Sure, I give you that. However, if you're a fan of Godzilla, if you're a fan of Gamera, if you're a fan of King Kong, I highly recommend that you check out Ultraman because you might actually love it. I'm not saying that you have to start out with the original series, but if you're willing to check it out and willing to look into it, it still is a hell good series that still stands out to this day. I knew that was gonna happen. So I'm sorry that I didn't have the subtitles on at the when I started it there. I forgot to add to turn them on. I turned them off during that moment. I wanted to apologize. But yeah, no man, I sincerely recommend that you check out the original Ultraman series. Even if your favorite is like Tiga, Dyna, Ultraman Max, Ultraman Gingo, Ultraman X, Ultraman Toro, Ultraman Leo, Ultraman 80, whatever that your favorite Ultraman is, still check out the original series because you might actually like it like I do. It's still a pretty damn good series in all in all. And yes, I've named a lot of Ultraman because I myself am an Ultraman fan too, and I've checked out some of the other series that they have made. There is even a Japanese drama, not joking, that is based on Ultraman 7. It is a Japanese drama with a giant superhero that's supposed to kill monsters. I'm not even joking. I looked into that at only like 5 episodes, and it was the most boring thing ever. On an old YouTube channel that I had, I tried to watch it on YouTube because YouTube had the episode at the time, and I couldn't even get past episode 5. That is how boring that the series was. And that is not a joke. So, yeah, and even Ultraman came over here to America. Not just with this series, which had the same voice actors Speed Racer, but there were 2 Canadian-made series for it. Who knows? Maybe I can do a team up with like Brandon Tenold or Monster Island Buddies and do a team up crossover and talk about that original series. I've only seen a few episodes of the original Canadian series, so. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me at Twitter with a link in the description down below. And remember, I believe universe, I believe nerdy, and let me know in the comments down below who your favorite Ultraman is. Mine personally, I really do like Ultraman Tiga. It was the Foxbox series that made me a fan. But let me know what your favorite Ultraman is in the comment section down below. Next time, I think we should honor a fallen good person. He lost his life back in 2018, I believe, but we still honor his memory to this day. He is still one of the most honored people for what he had done in the world of comic books and the world of pop culture, and his cameos are made legendary. So, and also, yes, I know that usually it's December 28th is Stan Lee Day, but we're gonna honor his memory a little differently here. So, come back on Friday as I'll be taking a look at not Stan Lee himself. We're not talking about the legendary man himself. We're going to talk about something that he created and something that a lot of people have probably never heard of. So come back next time as I'm going to talk about a superhero that Stan Lee and Marv Wolfman created, and it is a weird superhero. But come flying in next week because we're going to go skateboarding with the Condor.